Welcome to Train Up a Parent. Here we are, week 3. I love you guys. You guys are so funny. I wish they all knew why that was funny. We parent today for what we want tomorrow. That's what we're going to say every week. I want that to be something hard. When I'm doing something, I always look at what the impact is going to have when they become adults, when they become teenagers, when they become married one day, when they have kids of their own, that what I'm doing is sowing some seeds for tomorrow. And if it's annoying things they're doing today, then you can magnify that by 100 when they become teenagers. And so we got to make sure that we're navigating in that way. Last time we talked about the virtues in our kids, and today we're going to talk about virtue number 1. So there's 10 things that we want to put on our kids. Today is going to be number 1. And if you think about what you really want for your kids when they grow up, like, what do I want for my children? Well, I want them to be happy. I want them to have peace. I want them to be prosperous. I want them to be blessed. I want them to have the good things of life. Watch this in a strong relationship with God. Watch this in Proverbs 3:13. Blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding. For she is more profitable than silver and yields better return than gold. She's more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honors. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who take hold of her. Those who hold her fast will be blessed. Everything that you want for your children in that chapter says that they got to have wisdom and understanding. Number 1, write down, wisdom and understanding is virtue number 1. And it's really the core for all the other virtues. Without number 1, you won't get the other 9. It is the driving force that I get the wisdom inside of me, and the understanding is what allows me to take action, which is the driving force of every decision that your child will ever make. Your decisions come out of what you have wisdom about or what you know, and your understanding concerning that. And so here's how things work in life. You have a warehouse, a moral warehouse on the inside of you. It has all your beliefs in there, everything you believe, right? And they are your truths. I know we hear that all the time now in the media, well, my truth. But if your truth is garbage, then your decision is going to be garbage because you're only as good as your beliefs. Your decision maker, what happens is I got all these morals, values, and beliefs inside of me. And when a circumstance comes up for me to make a decision on what to do, I have I call it a little guy that goes down to my moral warehouse and looks around and sees that they have any information concerning this event, this circumstance. And then if they have something, they come back and they go, hey, I think we should do this. Or they say, I think we should do that. And then now I have a decision. I can follow, right, your advice. Or I can go, I have free will, and I choose not to do that, right? You have that where you're like, hey, I really know that I shouldn't say that to my wife, right? But I still just decided to do that. I've done that before, and I'm like, okay, bad choice, right? And then what happens is our conscience then is there to reward me if I follow out what I should, or it makes me feel guilty if I don't, right? That's the whole job of the conscience is go, hey, you're not following the warehouse. You're not following what we think you should do. And because of that, I'm going to make you feel guilty and try and make you do the right thing and make the right decisions based on your beliefs. But your beliefs can be either not complete, right? Or they could have wrong beliefs in there. And there are people that make decisions, they think that they're right, and you're like, oh my God, you think that's a right decision. And they believe that because they don't have biblical things that have been put inside of them. We can go back to the importance. Every week you get into church and you're like, oh my God, forgive, I forgot about forgive, right? And then it gets in there and you're like, okay, I need to speak more positive, right? It goes into your moral warehouse. You go to church every week and something is placed into your moral warehouse as adults that wasn't there before that helps you make better decisions. The same thing for your children. So I'll give you a great example how a moral house can work totally different with 2 people, both going to the same church every single week, both right living life and reading the Bible, right? After church, they're walking out, and on the ground is a wallet. They pick it up. There's no ID in there, but there's like $500 in that thing. And right? So the little man goes down to the warehouse. For one person, the guy goes down there, and he goes, oh, my God, this is a blessing from God. God has just given you $500. Oh, God is a good God all the time. Praise the Lord, right? What a gift from God, right? Right? And that's their decision. But for another one, it goes down there, and they go, well, man, if I lost mine, I would hope somebody would turn it in. I mean, that would be the right thing to do. I hope that in someday when that I'm sowing some seed into my future, that is when I lose something, somebody's going to do the right thing with my money. And so, no, this is important. So I'm going to go the right thing to do is to turn this in. He may come up to you, right? And the little man goes, hey, turn this in. And you're like, oh, heck no, I'm not turning that in. And you're driving home in that conscious eat, and you're like, oh, yeah, there you go. And finally, like, fine. And then you turn around and you turn it in, and then you feel good. You're like, oh, that was the right thing. I feel good, right? And you find out a single mom had lost her, and you're like, oh my God, okay, I didn't even know that. Wow, that was great. So the moral warehouse, right? Your decision maker. And what we put inside of our children is so important because it'll navigate their decisions for their life.
I just want to add, and I do this in between throughout the entire series, is, one of the main goals of raising our amazing kids into adults is to impart into them how incredibly important it is to have a relationship with God. How important it is to have such a close relationship with God that they hear him and they're listening for him, and that they hear him on the first time, right? And so I cannot let this whole little section go by without saying, so important that we ourselves are in the Word. Training up parents is not just the curriculum, but we have to make sure that that moral warehouse is filled with all that the Word says about character and about situations and about what our supernatural God has afforded to us. If we're not in the Word, then Train Up will pique your interest, but this is going to just be so much more depth than we could ever possibly hit on.
And because you can't raise your kids and fill their warehouse if your warehouse is not filled.
That's right.
I'm just telling you, once again, I go back to all the statistics of how successful families are that are in church every single week. Just one time, one service a week, where your warehouse is getting filled up, right? Your kids hear you on the way home talking, their warehouse is getting up. Right? It's so vitally important. All right, so the conscience, the wisdom. So wisdom is good. So I put wisdom is just a single thing. So don't run in the house. All right, cool. That's one. But how would you possibly be able to put a trillion of don't run in the mall, don't run a church, don't run how? And this is God's ultimate amazing thing about our warehouse is understanding has the ability to cover millions of issues. That by simply putting understanding in our children's heart, we can cover so many more issues than just simply being specific about this. You don't hit your sister, but then they go out and they hit Billy on the playground. Well, that's not my sister, right? Well, we got to be able to transfer that. No, we just don't hit people, right? We don't hit other people, right? How do we transfer that? And that is where the understanding comes. And understanding is that next level that covers so many more things. So you say to your child, right, hey, don't run. You're at the church, and you're like, hey, don't run in the church. We don't run in the church, right? And then a week later, you're at the mall, and off they go running. And you're like, what are you doing? Like, we don't run in the mall, right? And then you're off at some concert, right, inside your daughter's 6th grade concert, and your 7-year-old runs off again. You're like, we don't run in the school. How many times do I have to tell you? But you didn't tell them not to run in the school. That's right. You told them not to run in the church. You told them not to run in the mall. You put a single item in there. And the power of being able to give them understanding is when we put the why in their hearts. We give them what to do, and then we follow it up with the why we do it behind it. And it is the why that seems to give a broader sense so that they can make a better decision. So, hey, we don't run in the church. And here's the thing. Look around, like there's adults, right? You run, you get in their way, and it makes people nervous. And we're not thinking about other people. Yeah, they have coffee, it might spill, right? And so, when we're inside. This is not a playground. We don't run when it's like this, right? And so I put a whole bunch of stuff in their heart at that moment. It took more time, I get that. But now we're at the mall, and the little guy comes and goes, hey, there's people around, right? We're inside. This is not a playground, right? Yeah, I don't think we should run. Right? And I've covered now so many more things by taking a moment as a parent and instilling the why behind the don't.
Well, another word for that is transference. So they're able to transfer the information into other settings and other environments. And all it is giving them the why, just telling them why you're asking them to not do or to do what you're requesting.
Hey, you don't hit your sister. Okay. Well, now I had Billy at the thing. Instead, you say, hey, so let's talk about this. Like when you hit, do you like to be hit? Well, no, I don't like it. No, nobody likes to be hit, right? That's not how we handle things in relationships. We don't hit people. Instead, we find a ways to get our anger and our frustration out through talk, or maybe you come to mom and dad because you're frustrated in those things, because it hurts and you don't like to be hit. And you're in a sense, you're putting empathy into your child and compassion where they become others conscious, that they then can transfer that over. I'm not saying they'll never hit again, but what I am saying is day by day, while we're putting the whys into their hearts, we are filling more and more and more of their moral warehouse up, so that so the moral warehouse is what's literally going to be the gasoline that takes them from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 character. It is simply going to be the whys that we give them that's going to transfer them over to godly character. Give me 4 things. We'll close with these 4 things. Our job is to fill their moral warehouse with the whys. 4 things that we have to make sure of when we do that. It doesn't really work until they're about 4 or 5 years old, but we still do it. Holly, we do it at 0. They don't understand it, and it's not for them at 0, 1, 2, and 3. But what it does for you is it gets you in the practice, so that when they get to 4, you're already doing that. Right. So with Olive, hey, no, you don't tell Grandpa no. Right? No, that's not very nice. Like we listen to Grandpa, and we listen to Gigi, and so you already begin to work on, right? No, we're not loud. We don't get to be loud, so that's the thing, right? We had Olive for a week, and we go to Olive Garden, right? And she no, we don't get. You can cry, you just don't get to be loud, because when you're loud, right, that interrupts everybody else's time. We don't get to be loud. Cry, but you can cry softly. And so we're already working on self-control, but we're also working on making sure that other people matter. We're already beginning at 2 years old to begin to fill up the whys in their life.
I was going to just hit on when you said talking to, it doesn't matter how old, and this is so huge in education. You can't begin too young to start talking big people words into a little person. Mm-hmm. The sooner you do it, the earlier you do it, when their brain cognitively, gets to understanding the word, they're going to have such a understanding of the word. So like I did this, oh my goodness, I didn't baby talk. I was very big on using words with my kids, and it just came second nature. I would say, we're going to change you now. And I would change our baby, and I just started talking, and I would tell them, oh, we get to go to church. It's going to be so fun. Mm-hmm. And they're probably like, a month old. They don't have any concept of any of that. But the more you're doing that, like Pastor Scott said, you're practicing, but your child is learning to hear what you're saying. They're hearing the positive behind it. They're hearing the inflection that you're using. And when you use words, you're going to find that your child speaks quicker, sooner, faster, and just picks up on stuff, just really relates a lot easier and a lot quicker.
And it's going to help you out a lot too. When you have to come up with the whys, it grows you. Well, how come we got to go to church? And parents go, because that's what we do. Well, okay, that doesn't fill the warehouse when they become 20, 30, older at all. No, we go to church because we're growing as a family, right? One, we want to worship God, we want to praise God, and God's an important part of our lives. But we go to church because we're going to learn something new this week that we can apply that's going to make our life better. We're a family that grows. We grow as a family. The Andersons are always growing. We're always getting better. We're always looking at how we can be better in this world that we are in. And so it forces you in a way to begin to find the whys. Number 2, yes.
Make sure that before a child is ready for the why, well, they have to be able to accept the no. They have to. Well, no. I'm on a whole different point. Okay.
I like where you're going.
There's so much information in our heads.
And we've taught it so many times. Yeah. She's literally next week ahead.
I am.
So she's in the future.
Did you just call me advanced?
You are very
I'm
advanced.
You're very advanced. Make sure that the why is not required for them to give you the right behavior. So, yes. For example, you ask them, hey, please walk. Why? How come? And so it's almost like a challenge that they're not going to obey you unless your why or your reason is good enough for them. If you're dealing with that, then they don't get a why.
You get a why. You lost the why.
Yeah. They just need to do it because that's where the old time, because I said so. Because I'm the mom.
No, I've done that.
Because I'm bigger than you.
I just go.
Because I'll squash you if you don't.
Well,
just kidding.
Baylor was bigger than me than just.
Yeah,
by the
that's
time he
true.
was
He's
7.
bigger. Yeah. But
No,
it's,
I've done that where I go, you lost Y. You happy now? You lost it. You don't get a Y for a while. Because until you can be happy without a Y, you won't get a Y. So Y is a privilege. Now, we want to do it. We want to steal the Y. And you can tell, once again, you put it through the annoying factor. I call it the annoying factor. If it annoys you, then it's rebellious. And we don't answer to rebellion. We'll get to that later, right? But with the right heart, so a kid comes and goes, why? You're like, hey, I need you to do the dishes. They're like, why? Well, you lost why, right? I don't answer to that why, right? But you ask your child to do something, and they go, okay, why do you, why? It's you can tell there's a respectfulness about. They really want to know why. They want to help navigate on that, and you go, oh, this is why we're asking you to do that. And so it's very important. Of course, we're practicing the whys, but you don't get to demand a why from me because kids will go, why? Everything is a why. Hey, we got to do it. Why? How can we do it? Why? Why are we going here? Why are we doing this? Why? Once again, annoys me. Get rid of it. I don't like to be annoyed in this lifetime, right? So don't be annoyed. And you'll find that. If something annoys you in your home, fix it. Why go through life being annoyed? Number 3, look for the good. I really like this one a lot for the wise. You can do so much filling of the moral warehouse, so much more, by simply looking for the things that they do right and then explain to them the why, because what the benefits were of what they did. We get caught up in parenting sometimes of suppressing the bad so much that we forget about elevating the good. You can have 2 kids go to a store, one's acting up, and all you do is talk to the one that was acting up, and you never praise the one kid that was amazing and fine. And you'll find as parenting, you'll find in Train Up a Parent that we're much bigger on looking at elevating the right things the kids are doing for direction change than we are to suppressing the bad. If I can hit the times they're doing good, and so you see your kids share, and you just go over and go, that's so nice. You know, didn't that feel good to share with little Billy? And like, yeah, right? And I'm so amazed at that you took your toy and you were able to share with them and let them have some time for that. That is so, and you find that kid then is going to want to share again. Why? Because it felt good. When it feels good, then I want to continue to do that. So we're looking for opportunities this week, and I really want you to look for opportunities to begin to see when your kid does do something great. We stop looking for everything they do wrong, and we start looking for the things that they are doing that are great.
and moms, I'm here for it. I mean, there's so many hats, and dads, we all wear so many hats. So my pro tip is in the morning, say to yourself, you know, I've got 4 statements that I'm going to make, and I'm just going to, maybe they become your mottos or whatever, but I remember I would try really, really hard to say, we're going to have as great a day today as we did yesterday. Or how about, you know what, we're getting ready to go in the store, and last time we went to this store, you guys were so awesome. You listened, you behaved. I just know that we're going to have the same thing. Looking for the good, but not just looking for it with your eyes, but you know, being verbal about it. Tell your kids what you know they have on the inside of them, because this tells us what they have on the inside of them. Why would we not be looking for it? We love to hear that. Don't we love to hear when people recognize something that's inside of us that, you know, maybe isn't spectacular, but in a moment is spectacular? So we have that on the inside of us, and so do our kids. And so I think parenting is so much easier when you look for the good, focus on the good. Not that the bad doesn't have to be taken care of. That stuff that we don't really love, it does have to be taken care of, but it's far less if we find ourselves looking for the good and speaking about the good that we know is in them.
That's so good. Finally, as we close here, legalism. The wise will keep you out of legalism. Really will. Because if I can't explain why you shouldn't do that, then, okay, I'm going to get back to you and let me figure it out, and I may come back and go, okay, that's all right. One of the great things that I remember is my mom came home, because in the Christian community, this happens all the time. Church said Smurfs are evil. You can't watch the Smurfs. My mom came home, and that was me and Jason's favorite show. We ate the cereal. It's my favorite cereal of all times. We love the Smurfs. Everything's Smurf, right? And she goes, can't watch Smurfs anymore. Well, why? Right? Because we watch the Smurfs. And she goes, because they're evil. We went, are you sure? Because I don't think they're evil. She goes, well, I don't know. That's what the pastor said. They're evil. Okay. Are you sure? She goes, well, let's watch one. So we watched the episode, and she went, oh, that's not evil. Okay, yeah, you guys can watch the Smurfs. And, right, because in religion, oftentimes, legalism, right, people want the rule, and they want everybody, and this and that, and this is all, and they have all the things that are evil in this world, right? And there's a lot of things that the church has called evil over the time. It wasn't evil at all, right? And so we want to make sure that we don't fall into legalism, because a legalistic house and a household that's grown up in that way, your kids will, right? It's almost like you're walling them off from everything evil, when biblically speaking, our job is to suit them up so they can go out into the world and be a bright light. That's our job. We don't wall them off, right? Because when you, when you wall them off, when they're 18, they jump over the wall and they go a whole lot of crazy in this world. And some of you maybe even know that. You grew up in a legal house, you turned 18, and things got crazy for about 4 or 5, 6 years in your life. And so we want to make sure that, right, and it also helps you, and we'll get more into that as Holly was talking about context. Context is so important for a child, that we take the context of the moment in, and the context is bigger than the rule, right? So that our children feel like, so you come in and you go, hey, I need you to take out the garbage, right? And they're like, you're like, no, first time obedience, I need you to go out and do it now, because I'm the king and I'm the head of the house, and this is what you do, right? Right? And that's not what we're talking about. This is not parenting. That exasperates your children. That's right. Because what I need is my child to be able to go, well, hold on, Dad, real quickly. Mom said that I could finish the show. Would that be all right? See, now he gave me more information. And I go, oh, I didn't know Mom said that. And I go, yeah, you can finish the show. And then after the show, please do the garbage. Did you see how I didn't exasperate my child by being legalistic and about the rule? It's about having the children has to have the ability, especially as they get older, to be able to bring me information so that I don't exasperate them and make them so frustrated in a legalistic house. And so this is the culture, and this is what we're going to begin to build over the next weeks here, of how do we have that communication, still getting our children to do the right things for the right reason, and moving them from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 character, and putting the whys in their heart that are going to instruct them and guide them for the rest of their lives.